There's a Japanese warrior technique that rewires your brain to ignore every digital trap designed to steal your focus. Billion-dollar apps are built to hijack your attention, but this ancient protocol makes you completely immune. And it starts with something you're avoiding right now. What happens when you start each day like a warrior going to battle? Here's what nobody tells you about focus. It's not a skill you build. It's a default state you've lost. Samurais didn't need productivity hacks because they operated from a principle called Shinu Koto To Miru, practicing death daily. Every morning, they mentally rehearsed their final day on Earth. Sounds dark? It's the opposite. It's the most clarifying practice that ever existed. Think about your morning routine. You wake up, grab your phone, scroll for 30 minutes, and wonder why you feel anxious before breakfast. A samurai would look at that behavior and see someone voluntarily poisoning their mind before the day even starts. They began each day acknowledging mortality, which made every choice crystal clear. No time for nonsense when you know time is finite. The psychological shift is radical. When you truly accept that you have limited days left, that argument with your partner about dishes becomes absurd. That fear of starting your business evaporates. The opinion of strangers on social media loses all power. You stop living in reactive mode and start operating from intentional design. This isn't morbid thinking. It's liberation through brutal honesty. Research from the University of Missouri found that mortality awareness increases meaningful goal pursuit by 47% and reduces procrastination significantly. The samurais discovered this centuries before modern psychology proved it. They understood that pretending you're immortal is the fastest path to wasting your entire life on things that don't matter. You scroll for dopamine hits. They sharpened their minds like weapons. Here's the practical application. Every night before sleep, ask yourself 3 questions. If I died tonight, what would I regret not doing today? What meaningless conflict did I waste energy on? What matters so much I'd do it even on my last day? The samurais did this religiously. It's called dying before you die, releasing attachments and resetting your priorities with surgical precision. And here's what changes immediately. You stop tolerating mediocrity. That job you hate, you either fix it or leave. That toxic friendship draining you, you end it. Those hours lost to mindless consumption, you reclaim them. When death becomes your advisor, your life becomes undeniable. The samurais built entire philosophies around this because it works at a level nothing else touches. What would you change about today if you knew it was your only one left? How warrior focus beats every productivity system you've tried. Your attention is under constant siege, and you're losing badly. Social media companies employ neuroscientists to make their apps addictive. Your brain is fighting algorithms designed by Fudoshin to exploit your dopamine system. And you're trying to beat this with willpower alone? The samurais would call that arrogance. They had a better strategy. It's called Fudoshin, the immovable mind. Not rigid, but unshakable. Picture a massive boulder in a river. Water rushes around it constantly, but the boulder doesn't move. That's how samurais trained their attention. Distractions came at them in battle sounds, movement, fear, but their focus stayed locked on one thing: survival. Your survival now depends on focus too. Economic survival, creative survival, mental survival. Here's the technique they used: deliberate exposure to distraction while maintaining single-pointed focus. They practiced sword forms while others made noise, threw objects, shouted. The goal wasn't to eliminate distraction, but to train the mind to stay committed regardless of chaos around it. You do the opposite. You seek perfect conditions that never come, then blame circumstances for your lack of results. A Harvard study revealed that the average person's mind wanders 47% of the time, and this mind wandering directly correlates with unhappiness. The samurais figured this out through pure observation. When your mind is where your body is, you're alive. When your mind is elsewhere, you're a ghost moving through your own life. Every notification you respond to is another moment you're haunting your existence instead of living it. The practical protocol is uncomfortable. Pick one essential task. Set a timer for 25 minutes. During this time, your mind will try to escape dozens of times. Every urge to check something, every important thought, you acknowledge it and return to the task. No exceptions. The samurais called this returning to center. Modern neuroscience calls it attention training. Whatever you call it, it's the difference between who you are and who you could be. And here's what makes it powerful. You're not fighting distractions. You're building immunity. Each time you notice your mind wandering and bring it back, you're literally rewiring neural pathways. After 30 days of this practice, your baseline focus will be stronger than 95% of people around you. The samurais didn't hope for better focus. They forged it through deliberate repetition. What's the one task you've been avoiding that would change everything if you completed it with full focus? The 10-minute samurai protocol that eliminates digital addiction. Let's get tactical. The samurais had a pre-battle ritual called Seiza, sitting in absolute stillness before action. Not meditation in the Western sense. This was mental armor. They sat, regulated their breathing, and entered a state of heightened awareness. This wasn't optional. It was survival protocol. And you need it more than they did because your battles are invisible and constant. Here's how you adapt it. Before any important work session, you sit for 10 minutes. No phone, no music, no distractions. Just breathing and awareness. Your mind will revolt. It'll scream for stimulation. That's withdrawal from the dopamine addiction every app has cultivated in you. The samurais faced fear before battle. You're facing the artificial anxiety created by attention engineering. What happens neurologically is fascinating. Those 10 minutes activate your prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for executive function and self-control. Simultaneously, it calms your amygdala, the fear and reactivity center. You're literally restructuring your brain's operating system. Companies spend billions keeping you reactive. This protocol makes you sovereign. The samurais understood that battles are won before the first move. But here's the critical detail. This only works if you're consistent. Missing days breaks the neurological pattern you're building. The samurais trained daily, regardless of conditions, because they knew their lives depended on it. Your quality of life depends on this just as much. The difference is your threats wear disguises. They look like entertainment, connection, productivity tools. They're weapons aimed at your potential. After the 10 minutes, you transition directly into your work without checking anything. No quick look at messages. No, just seeing what's happening online. Direct transition. The samurais moved from Seiza into action fluidly. That continuity maintains the mental state. Every interruption resets you to baseline distraction mode. You need to protect this transition like your future depends on it, because it does. One more element. During those 10 minutes, visualize completing your task with excellence. See yourself focused, efficient, undistracted. The samurais called this makusoku, silent visualization. Sports psychologists now charge thousands teaching this to athletes. You have access to it right now for free. The question is whether you'll actually implement it or just consume this information and change nothing. If you committed to this 10-minute protocol for 30 days, what would you finally accomplish? Impact. Drop a comment with your biggest focus challenge right now. Hit that like button. If this is clicking for you, subscribe, because we're diving deeper into mental reprogramming strategies that actually work. Why? You already have everything required to win this war. Final truth. You're not broken. You're not lacking discipline. You're not fundamentally flawed. You're under sophisticated psychological attack 24/7 by systems designed to monetize your attention. The samurais never faced this, but their principles are the exact antidote because they're based on one thing these systems can't touch: your conscious choice in each moment. The core principle is Mushin, no mind, or rewire, mind without clutter. The samurais didn't fill their heads with information. They cleared everything non-essential so responses could be instant and accurate. You're doing the opposite. Consuming content about productivity while producing nothing. Reading about focus while checking notifications. Watching videos about discipline while avoiding your actual work. The information isn't your problem. The gap between knowing and doing is killing you. Here's the uncomfortable question. How many strategies have you learned and never implemented? How many books, podcasts, videos promised transformation, and you're still exactly where you were? The samurais had one word for this: Kata, practice, not knowledge. They didn't study swordsmanship theories. They swung swords 10,000 times. Your transformation won't come from consuming more content. It'll come from implementing one principle until it becomes automatic. According to research from University College London, it takes an average of 66 days to form a new habit. The samurais trained for years, making excellence automatic through relentless repetition. You want overnight transformation. That's the trap. Every app, course, and guru sells you speed, because patience doesn't convert to sales. But the samurais knew, slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Master one thing deeply rather than knowing everything superficially. Your implementation plan is brutally simple. Choose one practice from this video, only one, for the next 30 days. You do it without exception. No adding new things, no optimizing, just consistent execution. The samurais would rather have one technique mastered than 10 techniques practiced. That single practice, done religiously, will create more change than years of motivation, content consumption. And here's what happens at day 30. You'll realize you never had a focus problem. You had a commitment problem. The samurais committed absolutely or not at all. You've been dabbling, trying, testing. That's why nothing sticks. Going all in on one practice teaches you more about yourself than 1,000 half attempts at everything. This is where your real evolution begins. Which single practice will you commit to for 30 days? And who's the person you'll become after? Revolution. Share this video with someone who's stuck in consumption mode and needs to hear this. Comment below which principle you're implementing first and hold yourself accountable publicly. Smash that like button. If this resonated, subscribe. Because we're building a community that actually transforms instead of just talks about it. Disclaimer: this content is educational and based on historical philosophy adapted for modern contexts. Seek qualified professionals for mental health concerns.